Good morning. It's time for another gentle yoga practice. So let's start. And let's begin today just on our backs, laying flat, starting to bring your attention to your breath. And I'll join you there. So while you're on your back, you're just focusing on breath. You have this weird light beam here. So go ahead and close your eyes and relax. I think we can adjust this. That light's never, that beam of light has never been shining down like that before. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a sign that we are supposed to feel light in our hearts and our bodies today. So I guess we'll just go with it. And as you're laying here on the mat, think of an intention for your practice. What would you like to happen during your practice or by the end of your practice? Is it something emotional or something spiritual or something physical? And it could be all three, or it could just be one thing that you're focusing on. Something physical, like releasing the discomfort in your neck, or it could be something mental, that you're having a hard time staying focused because you're so stressed and scattered with life tasks or job tasks. And maybe it's some type of a spiritual connection that you are seeking. Open your eyes if they are closed. And just bend the knees, placing your feet on the floor. And then adjust as you need to so that your pelvis is neutral, your upper back and your head are against the floor, and as is the back of your bottom and your feet. Let's just drop the knees gently. And just only go as far as you can and still maintain a connection against the floor. So that could be super small. Or if you have a lot of flexibility in through your torso, you could drop your legs quite a bit to the sides. And then stop in the center and bring the knees up and into the chest, gently drawing them down. And again, if you need to adjust, I find When I'm moving my legs, a lot of times I have to readjust how my back is against the mat. Let's just do a little bit of a rock side to side here. Maybe you feel some pulling. I can feel a little bit of pulling on my left lower back, but not on my right. So I'm going to be pretty focused on that today then for my own practice, paying attention to what needs to be released. And let's stop in the center and take the arms wide and draw both knees to one side. We're just going to pause here to get a little bit of a stretch along the side and the hip. And then you can turn your head the other way. Excuse me. And then bring your knees either one or both up at the same time and go to the other side. And allowing your breath to just have your body sink. So every time you exhale, release some type of tension. And then lift your legs up, either one or both at the same time. Pull the knees in toward the chest. Keeping your hands on your shins, just curl up as if you're doing a crunch and an abdominal exercise, pulling your chin toward your chest. Then roll down. Let's do that again. Roll up, feeling your core muscles become engaged. We do use our core muscles in the practice of yoga. And release. And then bring the chin to chest again. Roll up. And release. Drop the feet back to the floor. And let's revisit the knees going side to side. Now let's allow the hips to come up and tilt side to side as well. So you can have your arms either wide in a T or down by your side. It's up to you. Start to feel that stretch continue down toward the hips. You're getting a little bit more space. Bigger stretch. And then drop your knees to one side. And look out over your opposite arm. And hopefully this feels different than when you have your knees together. Try pushing your legs toward the floor. Maybe you feel that stretch a little bit on your inner thigh or the front of your thighs. Maybe it's just more intense on your opposite hip. And lift the legs. Go to the other side. And come to the center. And bring your knees into your chest one more time. Roll up. And release to the floor. Take both feet to the ceiling. And pull the toes down toward your shin. Keeping your back against the floor. If you feel that your back is beginning to arch, then try to intentionally lengthen through the spine. And if you need to, you can just bend your knees. Try straightening your legs to allow the blood to flow from your feet down the legs into your body. Now point your toes and flex and point and flex, point and flex. Bend the knees, reach for the outside part of your feet for happy baby. And roll around. You're gently pulling the knees down toward your armpit or outside of your arms. Depends on your flexibility. You can feel the stretch in your inner thighs, your feet, a little bit of a massage. Make your rocking be a little bit bigger. Let's just pause on one side. Go as far as you can. And then go to the other side. I'm just trying to play around with range of motion through the side, through the torso. As we set up for some of our later twists. Come to the center. Bring these together again. And lower just one foot to the floor. Extend the other leg. We're not very warm at all, so be gentle and just notice the flexibility on the back of your leg. How does this feel at this moment? Hopefully, as we move a little bit more through the practice, you'll be able to have a looser hamstring. Point your toe, play around with that, pointing and flexing, and notice how that changes the stretch. It changes the intensity, so it's pretty individual. A lot of times when you're dorsiflexing, pulling the toes toward your shin, it's going to be more intense unless you have extremely flexible hamstrings and calves. And then bend your knee, place it to the floor, and lift up your other leg, extending up, pausing, just, again, fact-finding. I know that I probably say that in every practice, but a lot of yoga is learning about yourself, learning about your physical self, your spiritual self, and your mental self. Can you stay focused? Or I've been using the term a lot lately that I'm going down rabbit holes. So I go off on a tangent. Point your toes. Flex your foot. And I know when that happens, it's when I'm really busy and I have a lot of projects, a lot of balls in the air. And that's when my yoga practice is even more important, because I can be more focused on those tasks after I've taken time to focus on myself. And release, bend the knees. Perfect. And just bring your feet in close. And let's just do a little bridge. Again, just warming up, pushing hips up toward the ceiling. Trying not to let the neck collapse down. Pushing up. And maybe it feels good to just come down a little bit and then go back up. It's up to you. You can stay up and try to feel the front of the pelvis stretch. Or maybe you're moving a little bit up and down to just try and encourage some blood flow to these muscles. And then release. Bring your knees into your chest one more time. And this time, roll up and just balance on your sit bones. So you're lifting your chest. Let's just play around with paddling the feet, but try not to put pressure in your back. So if your hands are on your legs, that's fine. But don't tense up and engage those back muscles by pulling the shoulders up. So you want to be long through the spine, and hopefully you're feeling this in your lower abs. Let's just come to stillness. Maybe you take your arms forward and lower your feet down to the floor. Sit up tall. Let's move through cat and cow. So flip over, coming to your hands and your knees. Always chilly at the beginning of my practice, unless I've been working out prior. And then as the blood begins to focus more on my muscles, I get nice and warm. Perhaps that's happening to you. And again, that's an awareness, just noticing how your body is and becoming aware of how to treat it. So alternate between your cow and your cat pose. I said that backwards. This is cat with your rounded back. Cow opens the chest. And alternate between your postures. Continue to use your breath. And let's pause in cow, opening the chest. So your hands are grounded, really emphasizing this pelvic tilt. Your front of your pelvis is tilting forward. So your butt is kind of sticking up in the air like Donald Duck. If Donald Duck was doing this pose, he'd be pointing his tail feathers toward the ceiling. And then let's round into a cat. Pulling the low belly in. Allowing the neck to release. And in this pose, it would be like the Pink Panther. I don't know if anyone knows who Pink Panther is anymore. But if you were a Pink Panther, you're kind of tucking your tail under, pulling the belly up. Feeling a big stretch across the back. Let's come back to neutral and shift side to side. So moving laterally and feeling the feels. What's going on in your back? What's going on in your sides? What are you doing with your abdominals right now? Have you allowed those lower ab muscles to release, or are you keeping them nice and engaged? Let's come back to the knees, pause. And let's shift back to child's pose. Walk the fingers out. You're just resting your forehead on the floor. Your nose may or may not touch the ground. Your neck is long and relaxed. You may lift your head off the floor. Walk your hands to one side. Feel that nice long stretch on the side body, and then drop your head back down. And then walk your hands the other way. Come back to the center. Let's take the hands out and take your forehead down to the floor. Just leave your hips stay high. Can you feel your back lengthening? Can you feel those muscles along the back lengthening? Maybe you feel this even wrap along your side and your chest. And again, that depends on what tension you have in your body. For me today, I'm feeling this in my chest. And I know that's because of what exercises I did yesterday. And if I do this posture tomorrow, I might feel it more in my back or even in my hips. Bring your arms back, shift into child's pose, and take your hands down and around to your feet. Give your feet a little bit of a massage. And release and come up. Come back to your hands and your knees. Excuse me. Lift up one hand, look up. And then come down to your shoulder, threading the needle. And wrapping your arm around your back. We're just going to take things slow today. Release your bind, hand to the floor, reach up. Using breath, look up and hand down. Switch sides, reach up, look up, and thread the needle. Wrapping your arm around your back. And release. Come back down. Now let's tuck under the toes. And then come back so that you're sitting on your feet. You might need to reach down. I mean, for me, my toes don't all easily touch the ground in this pose, so you might have to adjust your toes a little bit. And then try to just sit on your heels. Feel that stretch through your feet. The stretch in your toes, the bottoms of your feet. Sometimes we forget about how important our feet are, and they're the ones that are carrying all of our weight. And then some, depending on what you carry around with you over the course of the day. Release this pose and come up. Let's do some side stretches. So reach up and just tilt to the right side. You can have your hands open or connected. I like to connect my hands to feel that stretch, feel the power and energy running from one hand into the other. And lift up. Other way, using breath. Maybe you hold in one position at first, and then as your breath gets deeper, you can drop more. And come to the center. Let's open the arms like cactus arms, so like a capital W. Pulling your arms back. And then take the hands behind your back, opening chest, clasping arms. Lifting up the arms to get a stretch across the chest. Release, bring your arms forward. Let's lift up. And take your right arm down and cross your left arm over. And maybe you stop with your hands touching the back of each other, or you can clasp your hands. I'll turn to the side. And then lift your arms up so that the backs of your arms are parallel to the floor. And from here, you can move a little bit. And by the way, if this is uncomfortable standing on your knees, you can just have a seat and do the same thing, or you could stand. So as you're doing this little pulsing motion, you're gentle, but you can feel how the muscles of your upper back are tensing and releasing. And then stop in the center and just take your arms away from you a little bit. How does that feel in your shoulders and your upper back? And release. Uncross the hands. Take your hands behind your back. Open up the chest, stretching. And then release. Reach your arms back up. And take your left arm down and bend it. Your right arm comes over top. So we refer to these as eagle arms. There's a posture, a standing pose called Garudasana, eagle pose. These are the arms. I really want to focus on this torso area. Let's do a little pulse up and down. Take notice to what's going on in your hips. So remember when we were in Cat and Cow, I was talking about Donald Duck and Pink Panther. So while you're standing high on your knees, are you sticking your tail feathers out, or are you sticking your tail under? So you want to try and stay in between, neutral. And then pause here. Take your hands out. Feel that stretch through the shoulders and the back, and maybe your arms. Come back to the center. Unwind, wrap your hands behind you for a final time, lifting up, or a final time while we're on our knees. And release. Place the hands down to the floor. It's time for down dog. Tuck those toes and lift your hips. Look toward belly button. And you're turning the inside part of the elbows forward. I know that's a really hard concept, but try to avoid rounding the back or tensing up those back muscles. You want them engaged, but not pulled up toward your ears. Let's come high on the toes. Drop the heels down. Lift up high. So working the feet again. Dropping heels. One more time, lifting up. And dropping heels. Hold. Now walk to the front of your mat and open your feet so that they're 6 inches apart. So that's 2 fists. Just hang. So 2 fists, because that's about the bony part of your hips. So often when we say hip width apart, people open their hips, their feet way too wide. And we're not talking about what's on the outside. We're talking about the bony structure. So you want the support underneath your hips. And from here, try to let the body lengthen. Play around with shifting forward on your foot and back. And hold. And then take your hands over to the right side. Lengthen through the back. So you're getting long and then fold. And to the other side. Lengthen and fold. And then come to the center. Roll up. Roll your shoulders back and down and reach up high to the ceiling. Bring your hands down to the center of your chest and then open your arms. So your feet are grounded here. Looking forward, feeling tall. Thinking about your hips. Thinking about being stacked so your knees are not locked, but your legs are long. Feet under knees, under hips, under shoulders. Spine long. Face calm. Inhale and reach your arms up. Forward fold. Half lift. Fold. Bend your knees and come to a chair pose. Keep your feet separated. Reaching the arms up, keeping the pelvis neutral. Bring your hands to prayer. Twist to the right. So as you are twisting, you are still keeping your knees, those two fists width apart. So avoid letting the knees collapse in. So you want to keep them in the same position. Drop your hips. We're not going to stay here long. Release and fold. Let's make a box with the hands. Opposite hand goes to elbow. Keep lengthening. Maybe shift a little side to side. Gentle movements. And then release hands to the floor. Half lift. Fold. Bend your knees. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Bringing your hands down to prayer and twisting to the left. Again, maintaining that same distance between the knees. Lifting through the side. Now release, forward fold. Half lift and fold. Come deeper. Take your hands behind your calves. So your arms wrap around your calves and then bring your hands to the front of your shin, the opposite side of the body. And use that to add a little pressure on your hamstrings. Keep using breath to sink deeper. And release. Half lift. Forward fold. Rise. Fold. Half lift. Right leg stays forward. Step back with your left to a low lunge. I need to adjust my space. So you're coming to this low lunge. Back leg is strong and straight. And you're up high on your toes. I'll turn to the side. So you're trying to come up high on that back foot. Nice long stretch. And allow the weight to be distributed between the ball of your back foot and the front foot. And your legs are engaged. So you're not trying to shoulder this weight from your hands and your upper body. You're letting your legs work. Drop your knee. Lift your hands. So maybe your hands are on your hips or in prayer. Reach up. Maybe reach back. And come to the center and lower your hands. Shift back, hamstring stretch. Taking your chest toward your thigh. Come forward. Inhale, reach your arms high. Bring your hands to prayer and twist. So you're twisting over your leg, like you twisted in your chair pose. But this time you're pushing your arm against your outer thigh so that you can look further behind you. Keep sinking down into your legs. And then release. Come back to your hamstring stretch again. And maybe this time you come back to like a half split where you're on your other thigh, you're on your opposite heel, and then come forward. Trying not to put tension in your upper body, but focusing on releasing your lower legs. Releasing, come up. Shift to your lunge one more time. This time reaching up. Opening and turning to the side, opening arms. I love this stretch. Putting pressure. My leg is pushing against my arm, so try that. Continuing to look behind you to further your stretch. Release, bring your hands down. Shift to a downward facing dog. Take a big step to the front. Feet are open, half lift, fold. Inhale, rise. Forward fold. Half lift. Left leg stays forward, right leg goes back into your lunge, up on your toes, lifting up the heel, lengthening through the torso. And drop your back knee, top of the foot to the floor. And lift up. Whatever you did on the other side, if you had your hands in prayer or on your hips, go ahead and return to that. sinking down. Calm face, calm jaw, neck, shoulders are relaxed. Your hands are touching, but you're not putting pressure and pushing the hands together. Gentle. Release your hands, shift to your hamstring stretch. Just lifting up that front foot. Again, recognizing that when you lift your foot, your toes toward your shin, it intensifies that stretch on your hamstrings. And then come forward. Reaching arms up, bringing hands to the center of the chest, twisting, keeping the top of your back leg, top of the foot to the ground. And now using the resistance of your arm against your leg to twist further. Release, hands down, shift again to your hamstring stretch. Maybe this is the time that you come down to your half split. So you're balancing in the center between both legs. And then release, come up. Reach up. And then twist open. Last time, trying to find another inch of stretch. Can you twist just a little bit farther, gently, but can you find that space? And release. Hands are down, press to your down dog. So you get that balanced stretch through the back, through the legs. Just take one leg forward and then turn your feet so that you are in a wide stance. And you're pushing both feet equally to the floor. Hands are on the floor, lengthen through your back. Pull the belly up and in. Feel the power of your back muscles and your core muscles here. And then fold down. Reach your hands behind you, lift up, and allow the arms to come over. Release, bring your hands down, half lift. Fold. And bring your hands to your hips as you rise. And walk your feet in. And have a seat. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. This is one of those poses that I never miss in a practice. It's called Badapanasana, bound angle. Bring your elbows in. Open your feet like a book. Take the knees down toward the floor. I love this pose because it helps me lengthen through my back. Open the hips where there tends to be some tension in the inner part of my inner thighs and across the front of the pelvis. I feel this a lot in my lower back. And that's an area that I always need to lengthen. Looking down toward the floor. And release and come up. Rounds the back, so you're pulling in the belly. Take your crown of your head to your feet. And release. Come up. Bend the knees. Extend your legs. Pull the toes in. Long spine. Reach for your toes. And if that's not in your ability right now because of your flexibility, put your hands on your shins. But if you can reach for your toes and you can touch them, then put your index and middle finger between the first and second toe and then wrap your thumb around so that you have this connection. And pull your feet in and fold forward. This is Paschimottanasana, folding, bringing chest toward legs. And then release and come up. Good. And let's stretch and work through our outer hips. So take one leg and place it down on the floor, your right leg. Flex your foot. Take your left foot and place it on your knee. And then try to stack your legs. So some people call this fire logs, which you can see. I usually reference this as double pigeon. So sitting up tall. And then when you are ready, if you are ready, you can begin to move forward. And you feel that stretch that can be quite intense on your hip. Just gonna go slow. Moving slowly, using breath. And maybe you just stop right here and hold and try to focus on relaxing your upper body. Go ahead and move into your pose. Whatever's the fullest expression for you. And then once you're in that full expression, just try to relax. Try to let go of any tension that you're feeling. That could be difficult, so then just target your breath. You can always count your breath, like how long it takes to take an inhale and how long it takes to exhale. And then release and come up. Switch sides. Setting up slowly and carefully like you did on the other side. Stacking. Allowing your body some grace time to get used to this pose. This is usually fairly intense for most people. There is a difference between your range of motion and your perception of your flexibility. So you may have that range of motion to come the whole way down to the ground, but it may feel really intense. And so maybe that intensity prevents you from going the whole way into your range of motion until you are able to consciously release the tension in those hips. Keep using breath, sinking down, letting go. And slowly come up. Uncross your legs. So let's try a posture that I'm 99% sure we've never done in our gentle yoga practice. So bringing in one foot. Try to put your toes down to the ground. And I really struggle with this pose. I don't have very good feet. So what you're aiming to do, and I cannot physically do this, but you want your toes down on the ground and your heel up to be toward the ceiling so that you get a big stretch on the bottom of your foot. You feel a stretch in your inner thigh, but we've primed that. Just try and hold. See if you can get your toes down. We don't always take care of our feet. I know I personally beat mine up a lot. And then release. Extend your leg. Bring your other foot in. Try the same thing. Bending the toes back, trying to take your foot up. So for your future practice, if you have a block, you can always sit on the block to give your body some height to be able to maybe be a little bit more successful with this pose. But for today, I just want you to feel your feet. What are the sensations there? And then release. And let's roll onto the back. Roll down to the floor. And let's move into bridge pose. So I will turn, roll down, lift your hips, push your hips to the ceiling, and then roll down. Bring the knees into your chest. And open your arms. Drop both legs to one side. Let's take that upper leg and straighten it. And look out the other way. Release. Bring knees up. Other side. Once you're settled, extend that top leg and look. And then come to the center. Roll up into a ball. One last. And then move to Shavasana. Extend your legs. Close your eyes. Just sink into the mat. And revisit your intentions from the beginning of your practice. And as you do that, you are revisiting without judgment. So if you didn't reach your intentions in your practice, that's okay. Maybe you didn't need to. Maybe while you're in your Shavasana, you're considering what you need to do for the rest of the day, for the rest of your practice. So you may stay here in Shavasana, or you can join me and come up to a seated position. Thank you for joining me in practice today. I hope that your lower back, your torso, and your feet feel fabulous, and that you have more of an awareness of how your body feels and what you can do to change how it feels. Until I see you again, I wish you well. Have a great day and a great week. Namaste. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.